All right, so as mentioned, Jim Hutelmyer, Primary Residential Mortgage. I know we just broke big news. I'm sure you're taking it in right now, Otto. I mentioned in my commercials a lot, the simplest thing when you're thinking about what does he do, how can I refer him? I help people finance the purchase of a new home, and I help them refinance their existing home. So, everybody's got a why. It's talked about a lot in here. Chris just mentioned it, it's my family. I've presented here a number of times. This time, everybody gets their own slide. So we're moving on from this one. So this is news to some people. It wasn't on Facebook. Since the last time I presented, Kristen and I are engaged. And I felt like we've been together like a really, we're getting some love. I felt like I was making a lot of progress. And then all of a sudden, Ted Hooten, who did a presentation in here about 2.5 years ago on his Tinder app, shows up and I find out he's married. So baby steps for me. So I have 2 daughters. This is my 10-year-old Taylor. Pretty soon I'm going to start hitting the roids and getting huge because she started bringing guys around. She's growing up quickly, but she's a great kid. She's going to be going into 6th grade next year. And then I've got my baby who's growing up, and she's 6 now, just turned 6. That's Jaden, my little one. I have so much fun with these two. We just like doing dumb stuff together and taking selfies of it for the most part. But here we are being extra in Las Vegas last weekend, and there's just something where she looks adorable. It's what she does. So anyway, a little bit about my business. So I have a team over at Primary Residential Mortgage. I'm kind of the face man of the team, for better or worse. When things go well, I get the praise, and when things go bad, I hear about it. But these are the people kind of behind what I do. Mortgages, they go through a lot of different people behind the scenes. Who you have behind you is extremely important. I've got a great team. I'm really proud of them. I really believe in them. You guys can just go ahead and read their bios if you want. Apparently that's not going to work. So anyway, Jeannie Yeager, she's kind of my right hand. If you've done a loan with me, you've probably dealt with Jeannie. In an ideal world, she's the bad cop to my good cop, but she chases down papers. She's heavily involved once we have the contract. Just make sure everything stays on time. Danielle Reed is another LO on my team. If I'm here talking to you guys and somebody needs a pre-qualification, people are impatient. I don't know if you guys know that. They want it now. So she's kind of my backup in that role. She's another licensed loan officer. She helps in the sales side. Alexa, these little pictures here, she's my processor, absolute rock star, workaholic, works all the time. She does a lot of the heavy lifting behind the scenes. And then Nikki Byers, she's been in here once or twice. She's my business development person. She helps me grow my business, but most of my business is through referrals. So she's there to help other people who send us business also grow their business. She's a tool if anybody wants to talk about how she can help them. Don't hesitate to reach out to me on that.
You're at 6 minutes.
Ooh, perfect. All right, so mortgage trends. I know we're all waiting. This must be going well. Yeah, that's not even on our phone yet. Good. Special for you. Okay, so there's grant programs. I think I've mentioned them in short periods of time. There's grant programs that the county offers right now. They help people with down payment. So it's a lot of people, right? They work, they have good, decent credit. It's hard to save money, right? We all know that. It is hard to save money. So maybe you're in an apartment, maybe you rent a house, you want to buy, but you think you can't do it because I don't have enough saved. A lot of people don't even know how much they need. So the county's got some programs out there right now that helps people with that down payment piece. So if you'd like more information on that, we'd be happy to talk to you. It's a big misnomer. You don't necessarily have to be a first-time buyer to take advantage of those. VA loans, if you've ever served in the military, VA loan's an option for you, 0% down. They're the best loans out there. So people who have served in the military, they've got better options when it comes to buying a house. Short sale foreclosure. A lot of these are getting in the past for us now, but still it's important that people know you don't necessarily have a wait period. There's options right away. You can get financing one day after. It's not going to be the stuff maybe you see advertised on the front page of MSN, but they're out there. Rates are still relatively and historically low. Relative is the key word, right? A few years ago things got into the 3s. They're not there anymore. Rates are high 4s, low 5s. They've gone up, which is what happens in a good economy. But that's still relatively cheap money. I'm sure your financial advisor could, back that up and can kind of talk to you more about it. But rates are still relatively low. But I want people to know that they're not what they once were. So there's not a huge element of surprise when they go to buy, and also it factors into your decision when you're looking at what you're going to do. So cash out, I think a few people have talked about it just today, right? So home prices are going up. A lot of people are getting equity in their house, right? So one thing, some people want to buy a new house. Some people don't want to buy a new house, but there's things that we all have in our house that we probably say, hey, I wish I could do this. I wish this was different. This is a great time to do it. Obviously, we have resources within the chapter here that can help with that. But if you have equity in your house, we can help you pull that cash out through what's called a cash out refi. Mortgage insurance. I'm gonna dive in a little deeper into this one today. So mortgage insurance, commonly known as PMI, if you buy a house with low money down, usually less than 20% is kind of the magic number, you have something called PMI attached to your mortgage. So PMI, different than homeowners insurance. PMI actually insures the lending institution. It's all, we're regulated by the government, it's out there, you've got to have it, and you pay it every month really to insure the banks, the government, that if your loan comes back to us because you didn't have a lot of down payment, that they kind of have a pool that they can use to work with. But you want to get out of it when you can. I mean, it's a nice tool. I don't discourage people from buying with it. It's out there for a reason. But with prices going up, you can get out of it, and this is a big piece that people should be educated on and try to get out of when they can. So 20% down is the key. But what a lot of people don't know is it's always based on the price you bought your house for. So if your house went up $100,000, your PMI is not just going to fall off. It's based on the purchase price. So I'm getting more and more calls on me and kind of walk people through how to get out of them. And then there's 3 different options of PMI. So everybody knows monthly. I think that's the most common. But a lot of lenders don't offer people options for what's called upfront mortgage insurance. It's when you just pay it once and you don't have it for the life of the loan, or they're split. So it's important that people have those pieces of information because everybody talks rate and this and that, but at the end of the day, you're stroking a check for a number every month, right? So you want to kind of figure out what's the lowest payment and how do I get there? So how to get out of PMI. So if you think you have 20% equity in your house and you have mortgage insurance and you don't have an FHA loan, you probably need to refi. You can call your servicer, that's the first move, that's whoever you pay your mortgage to, and say, hey, I think I have 20% equity, can I get an appraisal? And if it's there, will you take it off? Probably gonna tell you no still. I mean, that's kind of what I'm seeing, but it's the easiest, it's the cheapest option if they green light it. But beyond that, you gotta look into a refinance. And so, there's also layers with taxes and write-offs with mortgage insurance. I mean, mortgage interest is a tax write-off, period. Well, not period anymore actually, but it's a tax write-off for most of us. PMI is kind of come and gone as a tax deduction, and there's still stuff going on. But you're better off having no mortgage insurance. So if you know you've got that equity in your house, or someone you know, or people you're talking to, that's a great person for me to talk to right now on how to help them get out of the mortgage insurance, do a refinance, lower their payment, just make the whole situation better. FHA, if you've got an FHA loan, you cannot get out of that mortgage insurance until you do a refinance. So for those people, maybe they bought with 3.5% down, maybe now they have 20% depending when they bought. It makes sense for them to look at a refi. So I am a loan officer, that's my bread and butter. I've been doing it for almost 20 years, but I'm also a branch manager. And my company, PRMI, we're located in 49 states. PRMI Scottsdale branch is the #1 branch in the whole company out of all of our branches. And I mean, how do we do it? We're not huge. We've got 18 loan officers, but we've got a great team behind us. We spend a lot of money on operations. And the reason I put this slide up is because loan officers, believe it or not, are great referral partners for me. It's part of my job to hire them, and we really believe we have the tools in place to help loan officers do more business, better quality of life, make more money, do more business, all those things. So those are great introductions for me. I went through what makes us stand out. The extreme height, I can't teach that. That's just me, but I use it for all I can, as you guys know. 6 seconds. All right. So that's about it for me. Kind of a list of the best referral partners for me. I guess we listed it as connections, but referral partners, realtors are my bread and butter. They're always a great introduction for me. Most realtors are going to know a mortgage person. Please don't be discouraged by that. I mean, that intro is still very valuable to me. I'm not a pushy guy, but just shaking the hand and getting in front of them is great for me. Financial advisors, builders, property managers, and then the 2 most obvious, home buyers and someone renting who will hopefully buy. Is that perfect timing? I'm over.